Hello, everybody. How are you? How are you doing? It is May 1st, 2025. I am meteorologist Noah Bergren. I hope you had a great Thursday so far on what is already about 35% of the way through 2025. Can you believe it? Where has the time gone? It's May. Pretty soon it's going to be summer, and then it's going to be fall again, and we're going to be looking at 2026. Time just keeps on slipping into the future. Hello, we're on Fox Local. We're on our Facebook page. We're on our YouTube page. Let me know where you're watching from. Give me a like, a comment, a heart, a shout out. Would love to hear from you where you're watching from. We've got lots to discuss tonight. There was always a lot to discuss. Don't ever let a weather person tell you there's nothing to discuss. There's always something to discuss. Trust me. Hello, Lauren. How are you? Hope things are going well for everybody here. We've got a lot of weather to talk about on what has been a great stretch for many. Lauren watching from Siesta Key. Hello, hello, hello. We'll pull up our YouTube channel, make sure I can see any of the comments there. So let me show you what's going on outside, and at least for a good part of Florida, we've got clouds that have come in, and it looks a lot cloudier than it did earlier across the state. And these are high-level cirrus clouds that are coming across. This is actually what's called blow-off from thunderstorms over Texas. And the clouds that are over us are not producing any rain because they're really high up, but they're just kind of muting the sunshine out there tonight. There's a view from Port Canaveral. We do have a launch tonight from Florida's Space Coast. A near 100% chance. This is a SpaceX rocket that's going to send up about 30 V2 Starlinks. So if you've ever heard of Starlink, when you put the Starlink out, it has to point and triangulate in the sky for somewhere to get you your internet. And the more of these that go up, the better the coverage gets. But they're actually not that big by satellite standards. Each of them are pretty small. And this batch tonight is 30 of them from Cape Canaveral. This is a launch that was rescheduled from couple of days ago from April 30th. So that's at 9:51 tonight. A couple of clouds. Hello from Titusville, Harry Vanderkamp. How are you? Can you believe it's May 1st? I don't know where the time's gone. On YouTube, we got some people watching. Let me know where you're watching from. A like, a heart, a shout out. By the way, if you're on our Facebook or YouTube, don't forget to click the share button on there and share it to your friends and family. And we'll get more people on here watching. Talk some weather. If you have a question, I would love to hear from you. There's the view tonight from Marion County. You can tell there's a lot of clouds. Out there, and these clouds are coming from thunderstorms that are across Texas and the Gulf. I'll show you those right now. We'll get right into the meat and potatoes here. So let me clear all that off. We'll close this at the bottom. So notice there's some showers up in the Midwest and the Deep South. You see a lot of thunderstorms actually over in Texas and towards Louisiana in Arkansas, but none of those are going to really impact us until Sunday. But some of these storms out here are huge thunderstorms. I mean, these things are just massive thunderstorms. The rain, Lauren, will be on Sunday. But for the East Coast, mainly, not the West Coast. I believe you said you were over in the Siesta Key area. The rain on Sunday, and looks like it's going to be on the East Coast. I was just in Disney Springs and Wilderness Lodge with some of my family last week, and it was nice out. It was hot though. I mean, those temperatures were well into the 80s and 90s. In fact, it was my nephew's birthday here recently. He's already several years old, if I can't believe that. It was nice to be able to be outside to see him. But yeah, we've got some showers and storms out there. Let me get you back to the the view here. So hello from Vicky Sharp. What's up, Vicky? How are you? So some showers and storms across Texas. Up here to the north, you see there are some thunderstorms as well in southern Illinois near Carbondale. A couple of severe storms here. Williamson County, Jackson County, a little severe storm action here in southeast Missouri. Some thunderstorms in southern Arkansas, then some thunderstorms here, big thunderstorms, and these are destructive ones for massive hail. I mean, some of these are producing hail to the softball size. You see here in Burnett County, Texas, Williamson County, Texas, by Texas A&M, by Brazos County, Hello from East Tennessee. Lee, what's up? Happy May. Welcome to May, my friend. How are you doing? But yeah, the clouds that are over Florida tonight, let me show you those here one more time. I'll take this full screen so you can see it. These clouds are all coming from these thunderstorms to the west, which are just kind of muting the sky out there. And eventually these clouds will produce some rain for us, but not until probably, I would say, Sunday afternoon. And it's still not even going to be for everybody. So let me show you the satellite. It's a pretty cool loop tonight. Let me see if I can get this pulled up. So that's the super duper one. Let me show you the let's do it in this mode, and I'll make this the last 4 hours. So here's the high-res visible satellite, and it's pretty cool. I mean, look at the explosion of thunderstorms here. Let me make this a thicker pencil so I can draw. Look at the explosion of thunderstorms here out across Texas, and all these clouds, when the thunderstorm goes up, those clouds get to the jet stream level, and you can tell which direction the jet stream is moving because the updraft thunderstorm on the top gets up to 30,000-40,000 feet cruising altitude, and then they blow in one direction. In this case, the clouds are getting pulled this way, up at 40,000 feet. The flow near the ground is more like this over Florida. But all these clouds that are over us, the satellite's getting dark here because the sun is setting. But all of the clouds that are over us are all stemming from these thunderstorms over Texas, which are blowing towards Florida. Eventually, the front that is causing these storms will come towards the Florida Panhandle and give us some storm Sunday, but it's not going to be anything all that major, unfortunately, I don't think. There's the infrared satellite. In fact, let me show you this on I think I've got it still pulled up here. The tropical band of our satellite, which, interestingly enough, I may have deleted it, actually. Oh, no, I still have it. Here you go. So here's the tropical mode of the satellite, which I will show you this full screen so you can get what I'm trying to point out to you. Look at the explosion of thunderstorms here over Texas. I mean, these are massive thunderstorms. I mean, these suckers are like 30, 40, 50,000 feet. And the high-level clouds from those are what's getting pulled east. The banner should say Thursday evening. I'll change that in a second. You can see we've got some of these are clouds left over from earlier storms that have survived across the Gulf. But yeah, and then you've got these thunderstorms up across southern Illinois into Kentucky, but a lot of those are not big thunderstorms, at least right now. So let me actually change this banner with you live. We'll just go in here and do it live. You see how I do this Thursday evening. I'll turn on the fronts and all of the weather features so you can see what the fronts are driving this, and the actual front is way north. There's a cold front up here in the Midwest that will drop south this weekend and help spark some storms, but high pressure out over the Atlantic is what's fueling the moisture into these thunderstorms, and hence why you've got this massive explosion of convection over Texas and the southeast, because you're throwing tropical moisture into Texas where it is very dry, hence the thunderstorms. Temperatures across Florida today did get to about 87 in Orlando. We got to 86 in Fort Myers, 86 in Tampa. A lot of sporting events this week in Florida. It's the I believe it's the biggest pickleball tournament in the world this week in Fort Myers and Naples. Tens of thousands of people in Florida for that this week. The weather's been pretty good down there. It's been a little windy, as a new pickleballer myself. 84 in West Palm, Miami today, 85 in Jacksonville, 84 in Ocala. All right, tomorrow for Central Florida, it's a little hotter than today. We'll probably be somewhere about low 80s at the beaches. I'd say maybe closer to 90 inland. The western zone's closer to the I-75 corridor, possibly could get closer to 90, 91. You see there Ocala for the 2nd of May, but nothing all that out of the ordinary for this time of the year. If you have a comment, please put it on the feed. I would love to hear from you. Let me see if I have any comments here on our YouTube channel. I'm not seeing a lot of comments yet. I hope you guys can let me know where you're watching from. Chime in. Would love to hear from you. Hello from Titusville, Harry. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, things look pretty good here. Things look pretty good. Over the next few days, Brooks Garner, Fox 35 is watching. Brooks, hello, how are you?
Things look pretty good here. Things look pretty good.
Brooks Garner is watching. The legendary Brooks Garner. How are you, sir? How are you doing? I hope you're doing good. All right, so there's the temps for tomorrow. And you saw them there. Sorry, I just had an issue with my system. I can't get the comments up for you. Hello from Crystal River. Brenda, what's up? Hello, Phyllis from Kentucky. How are you? Yeah, so the humidity right now has not been bad. In fact, the dew points across Florida are still pretty tame. On our Florida dew point guide here, you can see the range of dew points we've got is about 50 to 60 right now, which is really not that bad. And that's the pleasant category. You know, eventually we're going to get to that tropical threshold later in the year. Hello, Christy Johnson from Orlando. How are you doing? Let me show you the dew points across state now. They haven't been bad this spring at all. It's just 60 now in Orlando. Yeah, anytime it's 50 to 60, we call that pleasant. Eventually, it's inevitable the humidity will come in, but we'll see. So, a couple of headlines. We've got drought to talk about. Drought, rain chances for the weekend. It's a month away from hurricane season. We'll go through those three things over the next about 20 minutes. So if you have a comment or a question, please feel free to put it in the feed. But I'm going to talk about those three things now. Let's start with drought, and we'll talk about rain that has fallen over the last month. This is very much what was expected. This is a La Nina pattern where there's a lot of rain in the heartland and the Ohio Valley and not a lot over Florida and the southeast. 300 to 500% of normal. This is actually off of our color table. I didn't have a chance to make a new color table, but the black is actually 400 to 500% of normal. So in other words, 4 to 5 times the normal rain. Where did these... Let's see. Hello, Don. How are you? Brittany Channel Blaze. How are you doing? In the Ohio Valley, we've had 300 to 400% of the normal rain in the last month. But in Florida, it's just been less than 10%. In fact, there's places that only have about 1 or 2% of the normal rain. Hello, Elaine from Boston. Hello, how are you? I hope you're doing good from Eastern Mass. I believe at least a friend or relative from the lovely Laurel Blanchard, if I remember correctly. Hello from West Tennessee, Myra Jones. How are you? So it's been very dry in the south and very wet in the Midwest. And that's going to continue for at least a few more weeks. And the reason why this has been the case is because we've been coming out of La Nina this year. And when you have La Nina in spring, most of the time this part of the country is extremely active and wet, and this part are dry. Because what happens is the jet stream cuts like this through the middle of the country, and you get all of the storms, like we saw this spring, that track like this, and the rain that falls from them only extends to about like this, and you don't get Stugatz, nothing in Florida. So this is what should have happened coming out of a La Nina for spring. Here's the rain deficits since last October. I'll take this full so you can see it. The dry season, middle of last October. These are updated as of today. We're now at 8.75 inches of rain below average since the middle of last October at MCO. 6.7 in Melbourne, 9.9 in Daytona Beach, about 7.5 in Titusville, 6.5 in Lakeland, 8 in Spring Hill, about 6 in Gainesville, but obviously the worst drought relative to average is in those areas shaded in red, which is from Daytona Beach to the Villages. Now remember, when we talk these rain deficits, you don't want to get it all at once. Ideally something spread out, don't have to risk a flood. You want something that's going to saturate the ground over a period of time, not just 15 inches of rain on one afternoon. So this isn't the kind of year where it may take an early season tropical storm or something to really make a dent in this, and that would be the worst thing. A weak tropical storm or depression in July or something, June, July, or early August, that just is pretty tame without a lot of wind or surge impact, but has a lot of rain. That would probably be a good thing, more of a good thing than a bad thing for Florida. So no rain out there tonight. Things are going to stay pretty dry and quiet. There's the current radar and sat across the country, which you can tell a couple of things. There's a lot of severe storm warnings. In fact, Pennsylvania to Missouri, Illinois, down to Texas, all experiencing severe storms as of now. So that's the update on the drought. Now I'll talk to you about the update for the hurricane season 1 month out. So the good news is, for right now, obviously nothing is expected for the next 7 days. The names this year are the following. We will get to these hopefully not for any time soon, but if you haven't seen them yet or you need a quick refresher, here are the names for this year. Andrea will be first up, followed by Barry, and then Chantal, Dexter, Aaron. And the names of obviously most concern on any given year is going to be that IJK name storm, which this year is Imelda, Jerry, and Karen. Names last year that replaced this year: Helene. This year we've got Umberto, and then instead of Milton, we've got Melissa. So potentially Hurricane Melissa would be a play. Then we'll end this year with Wendy if we get through the main list. One thing about hurricane season forecasts, look, everybody and their uncle does a forecast. Take them with a grain of salt, and I'm kind of talking out of both sides of my mouth because personally I am a fan of long-range forecasting since I've been a kid. It's one thing of meteorology I've always had a passion for learning. And when I was at Penn State, took a few classes on just longer-term forecasting. I am a fan of forecasting on the weekly and monthly, several months out and several weeks out. It is actually better than you probably realize. But where I'm going with this is, look, there's some elements of we just don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. So, there have been years where the forecast called for nothing and there was a ton, and there's been years where there's been a ton forecast and there was nothing. But this is a year definitely where it seems like, because every year is unique, this year is a year that without a major influence of an El Nino or a La Nina, it's going to be more weekly forcing, more intra-seasonal variability on a weekly basis where, let's say up until early September it's dead quiet, and then there's 2 weeks where the MJO swings around and it's really favorable in the Atlantic and we get 5 storms in 2 weeks. That's entirely possible. So it probably will be pretty tough this year to look very far out because of the lack of really big scale signals one way or the other. We're not in La Nina, we're not in El Nino, we're kind of in that middle neutral phase where how much activity and where they track will just kind of depend on the week-to-week forcing across the northern hemisphere, the week-to-week temperature anomalies, the weather patterns, and that's something that you really can't tell more than maybe 1 week or 2-3 weeks in advance, and certainly not 3 months out. If we were in a strong El Nino, it'd be pretty clear. Yeah, there's not going to be much. And if we were in a strong La Nina, and we had, there's other ways if we had different things to say more definitively. But that's kind of the idea for the tropics this year. Now, I will show you one thing. This is the long-range European model. This is the European ensembles, and this is the percent chance of a tropical depression or storm over the next 10 days. And notice in the Atlantic Basin, there's none. So we don't have any chance of any tropical activity in the Atlantic Basin. However, there's a small little area here down in the southern Caribbean. It's technically only 10%. I'll show you the last run of this model yesterday. There was nothing. So, that's probably nothing to have any attention given to yet. But I will bring you to the East Pacific. It is interesting to note, if you look here, there is some decent accumulated probability, about 30 to 40% now. This would be for later next week, of something spinning up. Hello from Winter Haven, Alice Blanco. Hello, Donna Bergren. Love you, miss you. That's my mother watching. Hello from East Tennessee, Myra. Let me check our YouTube channel, make sure I didn't miss any comments on here. Hello from DeLand, Barbara Price. What's going on, Barb? How are you? There's some signal for tropical mischief in the East Pacific, which last year was really quiet. It wouldn't be a shock this year if it's the opposite. But so in the East Pacific, there's at least some signal for something there in the next week or two. But let me show you the ensembles here for tropical activity, and I'll bring it out in time and let you see. These are all the individual models. You can see there is some signal for some kind of a storm in the North Atlantic. It'd probably be subtropical, which is why it's not showing up on the Hurricane Center outlook here, because that's actually within 7 days now. It's possible that could briefly become subtropical, but probably just stays non-tropical the end of next week. However, you can see here in the Eastern Caribbean, look over here, that's actually a hurricane, 960 millibars. There's actually about 4 or 5 ensembles that have a hurricane and a handful of others that have a tropical storm. So it would not be a surprise soon as the end of next week or early the week after that something for the first time spins up in the eastern Pacific. You see here there's one rogue model that has a tropical storm crossing Florida mid-May, but it's one model of 50, so those are not good odds. The point is, if you look here, other than this thing in the North Atlantic, there's nothing on our signal yet for the Atlantic Basin, just this slight signal in the East Pacific is what I would say. So those are the names and a little bit of a roadmap going forward for what to look for this hurricane season. I will show you the timeline of events that we have going forward for you. There's a couple of things to know about. Let me see if I can find the graphic. Coming up in a few weeks, we'll get the Noah forecast. I don't actually think I can find it in here on the fly. Let me see if I can. While I'm looking for that, I will show you some similar years to this year. These are years that are similar to this year in what they produced, and of note, 2017 is one that sticks out. Produced 10 hurricanes, 2011 7. So notice all of the years similar to this year all produced at least 7 hurricanes. So the call for busier than normal but not as prolific as last year seems to be pretty good, in my opinion. So here's the calendar we're looking at. Things to know about going forward. Hurricane Preparedness Week in Florida is the first week of May, so later this week. We'll talk to you about that. The NOAA forecast gets released in May. The storm team at Fox 35 are working hard on a hurricane special that'll air at the end of May, during the last week of May. And then officially the hurricane season does begin on June 1st. So one other thing I told you I'd talk to you about, and I haven't yet, is those Sunday rain chances. And I'll show you that here. We'll walk through it fast. A couple of things about that. It's not going to be, everybody sees rain. I don't think there's rain tomorrow. I doubt it tomorrow. Saturday, I think the Fox model is way overdoing this. I would be flabbergasted if there was this much rain Saturday. I think the shower Saturday is a handful here or there, and most people won't see it. So Saturday, I think that's overdone. But there'll be some big storms. There could be some severe storm warnings, tornado warnings up in the Panhandle Saturday late evening. This is with a cold front, and this is going to slide towards Central Florida. But as it comes this way, it's just going to weaken and fall apart. So all the energy from this is really going to stay to our north. But that boundary will help spark some storms here Sunday. And it's possible because of what we call the debris clouds, where all the clouds that came from this initial wave get overhead Sunday morning. We kind of limit the instability and the storms just kind of underperform in the afternoon. That's possible. But I do think we'll see some storms Sunday afternoon. Zoom this in so you can see. Due to the wind flow in the atmosphere, they'll move this way across the peninsula Sunday afternoon. I think the best opportunity for storms is going to be the eastern half of the peninsula. So areas where there is extreme drought, namely Volusia County. See, there's 4:30, there's 5, there's 6, there's 7. See there from West Palm up to Melbourne to Daytona Beach, some storms, but it's not everybody. Certainly not everybody for Sunday. Quick check of the 7-day going forward. Here it is. We'll do some storms Sunday and Monday, but that's about it. And then heading into next week, things are going to dry out and get warm again heading into the middle of next week. For those of you on Fox Local, I appreciate you watching. I'll see you back here tomorrow with more news, and if you have anything anytime, please send me a message. But those of you on Fox Local, we'll send you back to the regular programming now, and I'll see you in the News Edge at 8 and then again on 10 and 11. But Facebook and YouTube, I'll talk to you more here in a second. Hello, Facebook and YouTube. I appreciate you watching, all of you on here on our YouTube channel and Facebook page. We'll do this again tomorrow at 7:30 on Fox Local. YouTube and Facebook, our Fox Local app you should have on your phone. It's great. You can watch all of your local Fox-owned stations' content in whatever major city you live in. It's very, very good. I would highly recommend you downloading it. But for tonight, that'll do it for me. I've actually got to go get mic'd up and be on the news edge at 8 here, coming up in a second. So I will let you guys go. If you have any weather questions at any time, remember, please, I am always available for an email or a message. But for now, I'll sign you off. I'll talk to you tomorrow, and have a great Thursday. And we're looking ahead for the weekend. Saturday, definitely the better of the 2 weekend days. Have yourself a great night.